It was something that I found when I was reading stuff on the online library, it's called. Yeah, it just really stuck out to me. I just wanted to see if you agree with it. It says, it's talking about the slave, and it says, it is vital that we appreciate this fact and respond to the directions of the slave as we would to the voice of God, because it is his provision.
Okay.
Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. So, it's just confusing to me because they said they're not inspired or infallible. Then why would you have to?
No, they're not. They're not infallible.
Right.
They're just like we are.
Then why would you have to obey them as you would the voice of God?
Because God has given them the position of oversight.
Yeah, a position of oversight isn't the same as being in. Yeah, it's not the same as being infallible.
No, it's just oversight. That's
Yeah.
all.
Well, no other.
As long as the information is coming from the Bible, I would be obedient, but I follow no man.
Yeah, if they're just reciting a Bible verse, but they're giving their interpretation, which we can see that because of the many changes over their history, that it was previously just their. What if you responded to them as the voice of God when they said blood fractions are against Jehovah, which they did say for years? Was that from God?
See, blood fractions. That's a personal thing that you. I mean, if your conscience allow you to take blood fractions, that's completely upon you.
Yeah, I mean the years before they changed that, and they said that taking portions of blood is just the same as taking blood.
Well, I mean,
and against God. And so, was that the voice of God, or is the voice of God what they're saying now?
Well, the thing is that over time, through research on the scriptures, they come to understand things to mean have a deeper meaning than what they had back then. See, back then they didn't have all the information they have now.
Yeah, so why would you have to respond to it as the voice of God? If it's something, the way you're putting it is, it's just what they are thinking at the time, and many of the things they have taught have changed.
If you remember how about Moses, when he led them through the wilderness, sure, he was fallible. He did a lot of things wrong. I mean, he made mistakes, but God had put him in a position of oversight. Now, would I say I would follow? Man, I mean, without question, no. I'm always have questions. I'll have questions till the end of time.
So when they
if it doesn't contradict the Bible, I would go along with
it. You wouldn't go along with it if they contradicted the Bible?
If it contradicted God's word.
Okay. So did it contradict God's word that the faithful slave was all the anointed class?
Pardon?
Was it according to the Bible that the faithful slave was all the anointed class? All the 144,000?
No.
It didn't contradict the Bible?
The Bible doesn't say that.
Right.
Everybody that's anointed is part of the slave.
Right. Why did they teach that for so long?
I don't have any knowledge of that.
Oh, yeah.
I've taught that.
Yeah, they changed it to just the 8 men fairly recently. I think it was in 2012.
Just the 8 men?
Yeah, 8 men are the slave now. They kicked off the rest of them, I guess. So which one is according to the Bible?
No one that's part of the slave get kicked off. I mean, if they're part of that until they die.
Well, they were kicked off because one day they were part of it according to the Watchtower, and the next day they found themselves not part of the slave because they changed it.
That's just like there were many people who thought they were going to heaven when on a certain day. That didn't happen. So many of them left because it didn't happen when they thought it should happen.
Well, if you're talking about past predictions, it wasn't because the people thought so. It was because the Watchtower was teaching it is really why. So the same thing with the slave. They weren't just some rogue people. That was in the publications.
Well, again, the knowledge that they have now is far deeper than where it was back then. They've come to understand something different. I mean,
well, that's what they said at that time when they changed the slave from whatever it was before that. It's been about 6 different definitions. It used to be Russell. It used to be the anointed and Jesus.
Well, those ones were self-proclaimed.
Oh, yeah.
They weren't, they were just trying what Russell said.
Yeah, just like the 8 men are self-proclaiming themselves the slave now. When they changed it, I think it was in 2012. Interesting. Yeah, because they're the ones who give the spiritual food, aren't they? Yes, they are. How do they know?
Why would you say that?
Because they changed the teaching, so it would be just 8 men. But they are the ones that change the teaching, so that is a self-proclamation. Let me ask you about another quote. Since you're supposed to obey them as the voice of God, here's another quote. It said, "All of us must be ready to obey any instructions we may receive, whether these appear sound."
It doesn't say obey them as the voice of God.
Yes, it does.
Really, God.
It does say that.
What scripture you find that?
It's in the Watchtower. It's not in a scripture. It says, you should respond to the directions of the slave as we would to the voice of God, because it is his provision.
Okay, so it's his provision. Now, if they're not directing me from the Bible, or if they're not directing me from the Bible, why would you follow?
Because no witnesses are allowed to disagree with anything they say. That's why.
No.
Really? Can you? Oh, I see. Okay, so you can. Let's see. If you want to go say, honor and glory and blessing to Jesus. Can you go say that in a meeting?
So what?
Honor and glory, blessing and power to Jesus.
What does that mean?
What?
What does that mean? That Jesus is all powerful?
Yeah, he's worshipped. It means you're worshiping him. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's from Revelation 5. Could you say that? Could you go to the meeting and say that?
Jesus never told anyone to worship him.
And check out Revelation 5 and compare it to chapter 4.
Jesus never in the Bible said that directed anyone to worship him.
Hebrews 1:6 used to say, let all God's angels worship him. And actually said that in the New World Translation before they changed it. I guess they forgot to change that one. Hebrews 1:6 in the 1950 New World Translation. But anyways, I just wanted to just read you this one too, in the light of that you're supposed to obey them like the voice of God. It says, all of us must be ready to obey any instructions we may receive, whether they appear sound from a strategic or human standpoint or not. Now, an outsider reading that will find that very frightening. That's in the November 15th, 2013 Watchtower.
Well,
it's kind of saying, don't think about it, just obey. Listen, obey.
No one ever does that without thinking about it. I wouldn't obey nobody without thinking about it.
Yeah, that's what this says.
It'd be like saying you have no thinking ability.
Right. And that's what this is saying. Whether it appears sound from a strategic or human standpoint or not. So it's saying It doesn't matter what you think. Do you think they're at risk of a Jim Jones type event with these kind of statements?
I think you have Joe Williams mixed up.
Do you know about Jim Jones, Jonestown?
Of course.
Yeah. When I hear these statements, it reminds me of Jonestown.
Well, I tell you what, nobody follows Jehovah blindly. We all have free will. God gave us all free will.
Well, you shouldn't, but they do. They actually do. They even let their children die from if they need a blood transfusion. That's pretty bad. It's kind of like Jonestown. Well, it's in one of their magazines. It shows the children. It says these children died for standing up for Jehovah. They needed blood and they didn't take it. Have you ever seen that one? It's pretty frightening.
That's a personal issue as well.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
God said that do not take blood into your body.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, that's in the scripture. So
yeah.
If that's the case, he said to pour it out on the ground. Once blood has left your body.
Yeah. How do you get blood? How do you get blood fractions? Where do they come from? Blood that was poured out on the ground? Do they go pick it up off the ground, or is it stored?
They do that, I guess, in the hospital. I've never had any blood fractions.
Yeah.
I've had several surgeries that if I had chose to take blood, I could have done that.
No, it used to be a disfellowship offense.
Well, no, I don't know where you got that from.
In the literature. And so, but I asked you about storing. You said Jehovah wants it to be poured out. Where do blood fractions come from that they now allow that they didn't used to allow? Where do you think that comes from?
Well, why don't you tell me where you got it from?
It comes from stored blood that other people donated. Some of it takes hundreds of people to take fractions that you all take, but you don't donate. That blood is stored.
We don't donate.
Huh? Yeah, you're not allowed to donate either.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, they don't. Well, anyways, I just wanted to see what you thought about those quotes, obeying them as the voice of God. I mean, really, really seriously, and they're not even inspired. And huh?
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Now, you ever been to a church?
Oh yeah, I love visiting churches.
Okay, so do you follow the preacher? Do you follow his voice as you would God?
Oh no. You know, I like to be like the Bereans. They tested even Paul, who did signs and wonders. You know, at most churches, there's considered, you know, doctrine's essential to be a Christian. Like, you wouldn't want to say, I don't believe in the Bible and go there, right? But as far as we believe, there's also things that are not essential that Christians can disagree on. So no, I don't agree with him on his. For example, I don't agree with his view of the end times, which there's a couple of different views that Christians have, because you can't be dogmatic about it, like the Watchtower, which caused them to make so many failed predictions. So we all get along anyway. We all get along anyway.
What do you mean predictions? What type of prediction are you talking about?
Well, the Society's predictions, their last one was the year 2000. They said that preaching would be finished in this century. They said that in 1990 or something like that. 1914 was a failed prediction. They used to teach Jesus' presence.
How was that a failed prediction?
Oh, they don't talk about it. They just say they expected something important, when really they were teaching the end of. That's not what they were teaching. That's something important.
A lot of people that fell away from the truth because of.
No, they fell away from the false prophet is why they left. A lot of people left also after 1975.
I was a witness at that time. I recall ones falling away, but that's because they didn't receive that heavenly calling at that time. They fell away.
No, it was because
that was on them.
1975, stay alive to 75 was what one guy was preaching. You can actually see his talk on YouTube. It was called Stay Alive to 75.
I was there. So what I'm trying to tell you is there were many that fell away at that time.
Yeah, because they were lying about 1975.
But no, there was no prediction. What it was is that they was going to heaven at that time, and they didn't. So they got tired of waiting. They wanted it right now, right.
Well, I can give you the list of all their references to 1975 in the literature. It was definitely predicted. Many people left because of that. They even commended people who were selling their houses and businesses.
Were you a witness at that time?
No. But anyone can read about it. You could even read about all their predictions on Wikipedia.
Why would I read some? Why would I read about something I was there for?
Well, because they reframe it in everybody's mind. They try to say, "Oh, well, the brothers were too excited," or whatever. When really, when you have to research it and look back on it, you'll see how clearly they talked about it all the time. And many have testified that yes, they're. As a matter of fact, in 1969, they had a quote saying, "You shouldn't go to college because you'll never grow up in this system of things."
That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to ask you about those quotes. I'm just concerned and worried for you all obeying men, these fallible men, as the voice of God. I don't want it to be a Jim Jones event, drinking the Kool-Aid.
I understand.
Yeah.
And I appreciate your concern, but you don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
There will never be another Jim Jones.
I hope not.
Type of event that won't be anybody jumping off bridges and anything because they thinking that this is supposed to take place or that's supposed to take place.
Yeah, I hope not, because that kind of authoritarian control is very frightening to other people.
All the Jehovah's people are very well taken care of. Nobody follows anybody blind.
Oh yeah, that's what those quotes say. That's exactly what those quotes say. No good church would really make quotes like that from their pastor. I would just leave in like 5 seconds if he said anything like that. I'd be like, "Are you kidding me? I don't obey you like the voice of God." I believe he's a good teacher of the Bible. He teaches verse by verse. But yeah, no, I don't obey him like the voice of God. Anyways, well, thanks for talking about it.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate your helping me with that. Okay, thanks. God bless you.